Hi, good evening. You're with India Post Live, India's first online news conversation web TV, where you too can participate in this conversation. I'm Ishan Russell, and today we bring this conversation to you because we have somebody, whether you love him or hate him, he's been one of the most influential factors in the elections of 2014. That is none other than Dr. Subramanian Swamy, and he joins us live via Google Hangout. Thank you very much, Dr. Swamy, for coming in and to share your experiences about the Lok Sabha elections of 2014. So, while we get the host of young first-time voters who want to come and ask you questions, my first question for you is, how was the campaign according to you and your predictions as far as tomorrow is concerned?
Well, the campaign was magnificently managed by a team associated with Narendra Modi. And we also set up a war room in the party headquarters, and I myself was given to chair a committee called Strategic Action, which was looking at the broad issues which may come up, pose solutions for the same. So I think it's probably, and the Congress itself has admitted it, was a magnificently organized, well coordinated campaign, and I think we'll get majority. That is, the NDA is going to get majority. We do suspect that Congress is a bad loser and they may use unethical methods, but they won't be able to. And as far as the majority question is concerned, the overwhelming support is there, and therefore we will form the government post 16.
All right, I have with me my colleague Sanjeev Singh. He's a consulting editor at India Post Live as well. Sanjeev, would you have anything for Dr. Swamy before we go to our callers?
Yeah, as far as the elections are concerned, I'd like to ask Dr. Swamy that was there ever a consideration within the BJP that, you were going to take on Sonia Gandhi or Rahul Gandhi, because there were murmurs that you would be fighting from Raebareli. Now, with just a day to go for the results, at least you can tell us whether it was true or not.
Well, in December, the entire Raebareli district BJP and the Sangha Parivar people, they came here and wanted me to contest from Raebareli. At that time, I told Mr. Rajnath Singh, our state president, and Mr. Subramanian, and of course, the kind of conditions there would be to run an effective campaign, which I said should be in place here. But then it was decided by the party that, I did not contest from Raebareli because it would tie me down there. I would be required to move around the country, and therefore they thought that I should contest from New Delhi. Then in the last minute, they might said contest from Raebareli, and I said that the notice was too short, and I would not be able to make the necessary preparations to meet a rather ruthless, violent opponent like Sonia Gandhi, and that's why I did not contest.
All right, you have a rejoinder to that?
Yeah, I just like to ask you that question again. So, I mean, what is it? I mean, people often wonder that, what is it that you have against the family that, you go hammer and tongs each time? I mean, is there a logic behind it, or is it just, something that comes very naturally to you?
Well, they have a number of things which make them against the country. One is they are very corrupt, and on almost every deal they have made a killing. Whether it's in defense or in civil aviation or telecom or coal, in everything they have they have so centralized power that democracy. Three, they are quite ruthless in using the state investigating machinery and prosecuting machinery like the CBI against political opponents, and then purging the records for those who surrendered to them. I think they are bad news, and on top of it all, they are liars. They claim to be highly educated when they have never passed an examination. They call other fascists when Sonia Gandhi's own father was a soldier in Hitler's army, and his mother was part of the Mussolini fascists. So I think everything about them is fraud. That's why I'm opposing.
All right, fair enough. But Dr. Swamy, I'd like to get in the callers in because they've been dying to ask you a question. One of the young first-time voters we have is Manal joining us live from New Delhi. Manal, thanks very much for joining in. What would your question for Dr. Swamy be?
She's on mute.
Manal, if you could just unmute your the screen, the mic.
Ronnie ने किया हुआ है.
All right, while we try to reconnect that audio to Manal, Ahan is over there. Ahan is another young first-time voter. Ahan, what will your question for Dr. Swamy be?
Yeah, my question is that as the results are coming, what role would Sushma Swaraj get after Modi comes to power?
That I think only Modi can answer, not me. Because I don't think it's proper for me to hazard a guess even. And one thing I like about Modi is a very clear-cut mind, and he's a very decisive person. He knows exactly what he wants done. So the best person to answer this question would be Modi, not me.
Ask him one more question.
All right, Ahan, do you have another question? Do you have a follow-up to that?
Okay, my next question is who, according to you, should lead the defense ministry from NDA?
Someone who is very patriotic, someone who understands the geopolitics of our country, someone who got guts, doesn't yet have butterflies in his stomach, that kind of person, and there are plenty of them in the video.
Any particular name that comes to mind, Dr. Swamy?
No. If I take one name, then I'll be leaving out other names and making enemies of them.
Has the BJP already created a shadow cabinet?
But Dr. Swamy, I mean, there was this report in the Economic Times. We were reading about the next cabinet, and in that, you know, the name of Rajnath Singh was there as far as the defense ministry is concerned.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Dr. Swamy, just picking from the question that Ahan made about Sushma Swaraj, I just wanted to. I just wanted to ask you, I mean,
Yes.
You're almost an outsider within the BJP. I mean, you were the president of the Janata Party before this election and you merged your party and you came into the BJP fold. How do you see, because the BJP internally has been at war. I mean,
Yes.
you've seen what Mr. L.K. Advani had been doing in the run-up to this election. Sushma Swaraj was a little unhappy with the present BJP leadership. How do you see all this planning? You're almost an outside observer in the middle, right in the midst of things.
Well, you know, in a sense, I'm not an outsider because I was, the whole of the 70s, I was in the Jansangh. And the BJP is considered an avatar of the Jansangh. And 99% of the people are Jansangh. In fact, many of the people who worked under me when I was the youth president of the Jansangh are today important office bearers. So I know all of them for now almost 45 years. So these are not new people. Yes, it's true that I had been part of the Janata Party in the 70s. I did not go into the BJP. I continued in the Janata Party. And then in 2011, it was felt that because ideologically there's no difference, why not pool our resources? And I merged. Now, I think, you know, in any democratic party, these things happen. But the important thing is they get resolved. And we don't have, this party doesn't belong to one family or one individual, and no one person's writ runs. So therefore, it's a party which is much more collective, and it also gives hope. And the mere fact that Narendra Modi has risen from selling tea to the next Prime Minister of India, a tribute to the party's structure.
All right, I just want to remind anybody watching the show, if you have a question for Dr. Swamy, please do come in. You can come in via Skype or Google Hangout, or you can just go to indiapostlive.com and you can log in and post your comments or questions over there. You can also use Twitter to get in touch with us, hashtag IndiaPostLive, or use our Twitter handle at IndiaPostLive to ask Dr. Swamy a question. In fact, there are a couple of tweets that have come in, Dr. Swamy. I'll take you through those tweets. Srinath writes in, what do you think is the BJP is the reason BJP's for what do you think is the reason for BJP's probable victory? Is it a Modi wave or an anti-Congress wave? A wave that you created by the 2G scam and other such revelations that you came about to it. So, I mean, is enough being credit being given to you as well in this entire election?
I don't want really any credit on this, that although the whole country knows that the 2G spectrum scam and this whole explosion about the corruptness of the corrupt activities of the UPA really began with me, because I more or less created hope that you can get action by going to the courts and getting people prosecuted and some of them even sent to jail. So the contribution I have is not so much as unearthing corruption, but unearthing it and then having a follow through where people get prosecuted. That's where the confidence came, and the amounts were such large that people were shocked. But I think in this campaign, three things were amalgamated into a victory for Modi. One was Modi's own record as a great good governance specialist who has done remarkable things in Gujarat for electricity, roads, agriculture, and generally in the speed of decision making. So this has been a great plus in the campaign, and therefore he as a personality became acceptable for the Prime Ministership. The second thing is, of course, that we will fight corruption, we'll bring money that is abroad, about $2 trillion is deposited abroad, we'll bring it back, and that we can do it, and therefore the cabinet composition is going to depend very much on whether we have clearly with people with impeccable records and cleanliness or not. And therefore, this confidence is there that yes, there are enough honest people in BJP to get all these things done, prosecute Ms. Sonia Gandhi, prosecute Mr. Chidambaram, prosecute all those who are in the forefront of the corrupt allegations. The third thing I must tell you is an unstated but undercurrent feeling of this younger generation for a nationalist approach to solving India's problems, where we feel that our people are getting beaten up everywhere, our own interests, national interests are being sacrificed, we have been leaked.
All right, we seem to have lost that link with the...
And that also the BJP fits the bill. So these three things have come together to give us this message.
All right, but we have a couple of more callers who I want to bring in. Ria wants to ask you a question. Ria, go ahead. Ria is joining us from New Delhi. Ria?
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Sir, I would like to ask that you've always been a constant fighter, whether it is telecom or aviation. But people have also termed you as a thorn in the flesh. So I would like to ask that, that if BJP wins, would you play the same role of fighter?
Good question.
Well, it depends. If I'm given a responsibility where I have to govern, then of course I can't be a fighter. I'll have to deliver goods. But supposing I am not given any responsibility, then it's my job to be a watchdog for the people and to see that wrong things don't happen, and so that fighting will continue.
What kind of responsibility would you like, Dr. Swamy? Any particular kind of responsibilities you have in mind already, which you've been talking about to perhaps Mr. Modi?
Well, Modi and I have been known each other for a very long time. He knows exactly what I am and what I'm capable of. and I leave it to his good sense to give me anything if he thinks I should be given anything.
Yeah, there's another
I'll be
caller that's
quite
come in.
happy.
Manal is over here. Manal, yeah, she's back with us. Manal, go ahead, ask a question.
No.
Manal, just unmute your mic, please. All right, there seems to be a technical problem with that. But Ria, do you have a follow-up question to Dr. Swamy? Meanwhile, we can go back to Ria. All right, why don't we play out the tweets? There is another caller. I'll ask the gentleman to introduce himself. The second, Ajit, is joining us. Hi, Ajit. Where are you from, and what would your question for Dr. Swamy be?
Yeah, hi. I'm from Hyderabad. My question would be, sir, a very good evening to you. And you're considered as a modern Chanakya of India. You know, we really respect your actions and work. My question is there a way we can stop all these, uh, these kind of criminals coming into politics? Is there laws being amended and we can control easily by doing any wrong elections uh, and giving them freedom to act upon their own will?
Well, I think you have asked a very good question, but it is a very long run thing. You see, the thing is that once we create an atmosphere in the country that crooks can be caught, I think criminals will peter away, criminality will peter away. The main problem today is that criminals.
There's some technical difficulty we're experiencing with that link to Dr.
On our
Swamy.
side,
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can, Dr. Swamy, but your video is not coming through. So just go ahead. We can at least Ajit can hear your response.
Go ahead.
Yes, Dr. Swamy, you can continue with your answer. I mean, we're not getting your video right now, but we can. Yeah, you're back again with us. Thanks so much. So go ahead. Ajit had a question.
The thing is that we have to therefore demonstrate that there are enough people in politics who can catch people and have them prosecuted, that very highly placed people is not going to jail. That's the lesson from the United States. The United States, they don't catch everybody, but for example, when the Enron took place, they ruined that company. The company had to close down. I think in our country also we have to demonstrate that no matter how higher, the higher you catch people, the more the example is set for the people at the lower levels. And if they can be caught, then we can also be caught. Then I think you will see criminality start going down. The second thing I would like is I would like young people to get involved in politics. In the United States, people take highly educated people, they get into politics. Look at Obama, he got a Harvard Law degree, he was top of the class, he could have been a great corporate lawyer, but he chose politics. Even Bush, you see, George W. Bush, has an MBA from Harvard, and they have a long tradition. Our country was originally like that. During the freedom movement, we had very educated people come in. But then over the years, somehow this deliberate attempt to create the impression that politics is dirty, instead of politicians are dirty, they started saying politics is dirty, and people started avoiding it. I think those today in professions where you don't have to depend on the government, like doctors, lawyers, software experts, consultants, they should get into politics and drive out the crooks from the politics.
All right, hope that satisfies your query. Ajit, do you have a rejoinder to that? Do you have any other query for Dr. Swamy?
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
All right, there is another caller who's just come in. I'd ask my producer to go to
Ram.
Ram.
No.
Ram, hi, can you hear me? Ram, hi, this is Ishan from India Post Live. We're live with Dr. Swamy. Would you have a question for him? All right, Ram, we're not being able to hear your question. If you can just unmute your mic. All right, we'll just try to get back to Ram. Meanwhile, who else is there with us? Why don't we take a tweet? Producer, if you can just play out a tweet for us, then we'll quickly see what kind of responses we've been getting in on Twitter.
Next.
All right, while we try to figure that out, I can read some from my iPad over here. So, Sanjeev, would you have a question to Dr. Swamy?
Yeah, Dr. Swamy, I mean, I'd like to take you back to the year 2000, where you had written an article on the RSS. I mean, I know it's been a long time, but your views then about the RSS, then and now, I mean, what do you think has changed in the middle that your views have totally changed as far as the RSS is concerned?
Dr. Swamy, can you hear us?
And then when they make up, it's not the business of other people. Can you hear me?
Yes, now we can, sir. Please go ahead. Sorry.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hello.
Yes, Dr. Swamy, go ahead.
No, I'm saying that you know, when a husband and wife quarrel, awful things to each other, and then after they make up, it's not the business of other people to remind what each said about the other. Whatever happened is now buried in the past, and by mutual agreement. So I don't think I'd like to reopen that at all. If you ask me what my opinion of RSS is, it's a fine patriotic organization which is classless, casteless, and it is patriotic.
All right, we have a couple of more callers joining us. But Ram, can you try asking your question now?
Yes, go ahead. Who are the callers?
Yes, Ram, can you hear me? Can you ask your question now? All right, we still can't get through to your question, Ram. I'm sorry about that. We'll have to move on to another call. Yeah, go ahead.
Yes.
Yeah. Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, now we can. Go ahead.
Okay.
Where are you calling from, Ram? Also, just tell us that.
I'm calling from Bangalore.
And your question, please?
Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah, Pranam Swamiji. I'm from Bangalore. I'm a chartered accountant. And
Yes.
I have a few questions for you, but I know your time is very precious, so I'll not ask much questions. First question from my side is, can Indian judiciary system be, as much stringent as what US or like UK and those kind of countries are having? Is it possible in a long run?
Well, I think so, because you see, the US system is based on, for instance, the civil suits. They have what they call the civil procedure code, like we have. And in that, there's a provision which they use is much less than ours. And that is called principle of discovery and interrogatories. That means, you see, the two parties can address letters to each other, asking for documents in each other's possession, asking questions to be answered, and then they are put on an affidavit, and then the whole thing is presented to the court, and then the court holds trial which is over time. Now, country also can have that provision. But so they don't this procedure of discovery and interrogatories. They want to go and argue orally and for hours, and this is what takes time. We can easily bring about some reforms by which the decision making in judicial system would be very quick. I don't blame the judges. I don't blame the system. I blame the fact that we are slow to get to the point. And if we made it compulsory that discovery process and the interrogatory process must be resorted to fully, then you'll see that all cases are disposed of very quickly.
All right.
Yes. Also intervention of, politicians.
Yes.
All right.
Can I ask more question or it's what?
Okay, you can ask another one.
Yeah, sir. Can India adopt proportional representation system in the election? Like,
well, I'm not in favor of it because then you'll never have a stable government. You'll always have coalition government.
Okay, fine. Thank you, sir.
All right, Ria, you've been patiently listening in and wanting to ask a question, so we go back to you. Go ahead, ask your question again.
Sir, I read somewhere that you said that the country has only one Modi and he is with BJP. So I would like to ask, do you doubt the potentials of BJP without Modi?
No. India is full of avatars. If Modi goes, then there'll be another avatar. India is a land of potential.
We seem to have lost that audio link. We'll just try to re-establish that with Dr. Swamy.
Party, and suddenly they found being dwarfed by Modi. But the fact is that India has always produced people when the crisis comes, and that's why Krishna says, Yada yi dharmasya dani bhavati bharata. Into the earth. So the same way, I think we always have personalities who come when there is a crisis in the country. So if Modi is there today, tomorrow there's another crisis, I hope, which will be after 50 years. We'll have another person who will be able to come and deliver the goods.
All right, so Modi is almost becoming a demigod already, sir. But there's another question that Manal, who's been trying to get in touch for the past half hour, is back with us.
That is a superficial interpretation. I am saying that even the God says that whenever there's a crisis, I come down in some form. He doesn't say that he comes down as a human. He may even come down as a storm or an earthquake or a tsunami. See, there are many ways by which the societies get transformed.
All right, fair enough. Manal, go ahead, ask your question.
Hi, Shan. My question is that what will be the role of women in the Hindu Rashtra that BJP wants?
Role of women.
I mean, RSS had this patriarchal, ideology. So now that
All right.
You mean the role of? Did you say role of women?
Yes, the role of women, and
what
she's
did you
saying
say?
that the RSS could be a little patriarchal in its system. I mean, it's an all-male organization at the end of the day. So that is why you can understand the worry of a young girl in Delhi.
Listen, you use the word Hindu Rashtra. In Hinduism, God's cabinet, all the important portfolios are with women. Education is with Saraswati, defense is with Parvati, and finance is with Lakshmi. And all that the male god has is information broadcasting with Narad Muni. So therefore, we have never made any distinction between women and men in terms of ability. In fact, we have given far more importance. When all the men gods failed, they went and begged Durga, please save us. Otherwise we are finished. So she took the form of Kali and finished off all the demons. So don't underestimate women. You have been through bad years of 1,000 years of bad times for women, but now we have to liberate our women and empower them equally.
All right, there's another caller who's joined in right next to Manal. Yeah, the second last one, yes. All right, we seem to have lost that caller. But Manal, would you have a rejoinder to that one? What Dr. Swamy, are you satisfied with Dr. Swamy's answer of how safe you're in the country?
So what I want to ask is, will we see women taking up more important portfolios now in the government?
Yes, I think
the home affairs, home ministry,
yeah, sure.
And international affairs, things like that.
Could we see Sushma
Women
Swaraj, the
have
Home Minister?
always had more important positions in India than in the Western countries. You see, we had long before the German Chancellor became a woman, we had a woman Prime Minister in our country. We had women Chief Ministers like Sucheta Kriplani and Nandini Sarpati. So therefore, a barrier which is to show that she's resolute, she's determined. Then women come on top. Look at Mayawati, look at Jayalalitha, look at Mamta Banerjee. Men tremble before her. So don't underestimate the power of women.
But Dr. Swamy, the mention of Mamta Banerjee and Mayawati, I mean, is it an indication of things to come over the next few days?
Well, I'm a great admirer of all the three women, and I would certainly like to see our work with them, although we are not going to need them to run the government. But certainly to have a smooth parliament, I think we'll need.
Yeah, you want to go?
Yeah, I'd like to ask Dr. Swamy one question. I mean, Dr. Swamy, we need to have a much clearer picture of the philosophy that the BJP and the RSS have, because there is a general perception, and especially with you, that you are anti-minorities.
Yeah.
So I mean, you need to put that controversy behind you and tell us what really is the philosophy of, if the NDA comes to power, what will be their attitude and approach towards the minorities in this country, and not just Muslims, the Christians, the Sikhs and the other minorities.
Even sexual minorities for that matter.
Well, first of all, let me start with myself. My wife is a Parsi. I have a daughter who's married a Muslim. I have a sister-in-law who's a Christian. I have a brother-in-law who's a Jew. I have an uncle who's a Sardarji. Now, I have asked them all, do you think that I'm a dangerous communal person, as my opponents are saying? They all laugh, you see. The issue is, I am interested in purifying Hinduism or bringing a renaissance in Hinduism. We are too divided, all these irrelevant concepts now of caste and religion, and caste and religion and language. And I would like to see a consolidated Hindu personality. Now that people get afraid. And I've also found a formula by which the Muslims can relate to us Hindus, because the modern genetic journals show that the DNA of Muslims is the same as that of Hindus. So it means that our ancestors were common. And therefore, if I were to say that Muslims should acknowledge that their ancestors were Hindus, it will create an amity between Hindus and Muslims. We will regard each other as members of the same family. But people are extremists and the jihadis, they think this is a great threat to the internationalist concept of Islam, and that I am in fact trying to swallow the Muslim community. These are typecasting because they don't want these attractive ideas to go. In the same way on women empowerment, I'm sorry to say the fundamentalist Muslims, they treat women extremely badly all over the world. They have public flogging of them. You can't drive a car. Women cannot drive a car in Saudi Arabia. They cannot go alone to shopping malls without their husbands. They can't even go with their husbands' friends or uncles. Now, these are outdated concepts which I would like our people to get rid of and evolve into a new society, because now we are a knowledge society. Knowledge means brains. And as far as brains are concerned, women are not any less than men. In fact, if you look at the competitive exams, the women are doing better than the boys. I mean, the girls are doing better than the boys.
All right, but there is another question that I want to take from Twitter, because we've been getting a whole host of responses. So, the Twitter handle is Moderate Hindu, but he's saying, Dr. Swamy, can you bring in social audit schemes at the panchayat level and time-bound delivery of the services bill? That will help.
Yes, certainly. I mean, this is part of the governance system that we are all very keen on. India should be a decentralized society economically. We want a market economy, state to be a facilitator, not a participant in the economic process. And we want resources to be transferred to the point where the people who are going to be the beneficiaries see it directly coming, rather than coming from Delhi, and then by the time it reaches the beneficiary, almost all of it is eaten up on the way. So I think this is something that we will certainly consider very seriously.
All right, final question to Sanjeev, then we let you go. Dr. Swamy, thanks for being so patient with us. Final question.
Dr. Swamy, I mean, firstly, how many seats would you give to the NDA and the UPA? And secondly, if the NDA comes to power, are we going to see, witch hunting happening against the Gandhi family?
Well, if they are witches, we'll certainly hunt them on witch hunting. The fact of the matter is, you see, they are corrupt. And I can tell you, I have an ongoing case where they have swallowed the National Herald company and its 5,000 crore buildings with just 5 lakh rupees company that they have created, mother and son, owning it 76% of the shares, a company called Young Indian. Now that's an open shut case, on which they will go to jail for a long time. Then you have the 2G spectrum scam. I can easily trace it to her. And we have now enough indications with the Raja ready to talk that, he will implicate her. So there's no, the law must, the majesty of the law must be seen by the people. The people must know, no matter how big you are, if you've broken the law, you will be punished. Now, in the name of witch hunting and all, we are not going to be shy. But if you've broken the law, we are going to go after them. And that son-in-law, my God, you can't beat he should start a new business school on how to rise from 1 lakh rupees to 100 crores. This is in 10 days. So I think the witch hunt and all these are ways of protecting the Sonia Gandhi and her family. We certainly are not interested in giving anybody that kind of status. If you have broken the law, you will be pursued.
All right, the final question that has come in from Twitter was, what is the way for a young person to get more involved with any final parting words about young people joining politics, especially after this election, the high-pitch election?
I would say the first thing a young person should do is see which is the polling booth around his area where he lives. Then he should get hold of, through the online or by directly going to the election commission, the voter list of his area. And then with the 4 or 5 friends, he must go and visit each house and see whether the voter list reflects accurately what is there when you see it directly. And then you improve that voter list and give it to back to the election commission saying the following people are dead, the following people are migrated, the following people are false. If you do that, you will automatically endear yourself to political parties, because this is the one thing we don't have enough manpower to do. It has to be done at the decentralized level. So once you start that, when you start meeting people, you will start getting a feel of politics. Then you extend it to the ward of your municipality. Then you extend it to the assembly area of your area, and then finally your parliament. By then you would have become an accomplished politician, I can tell you, without anybody having to educate.
All right, so that is a quick crash course for anybody who wants to join politics and has been inspired by Dr. Swamy. Thank you very much, Dr. Swamy, for being so patient. I mean, we told you half an hour, we've taken 45 minutes. Thanks so much for listening to these young kids, and hopefully you can inspire a few of them to join politics. And thanks so much for coming in and being candid.
Hi, good luck to everybody.
All right. Thank you very much, guys. I know all of you had a lot of questions, but Dr. Swamy is pressed for time, so we'll leave it at that. Thanks so much for coming in. And Sanjeev, final word from you. The NDA sort of expected to come to power. I mean, enough credit being given to this man in this Modi wave.
Of course, I mean...
can I ask a question, please?
I'm sorry, he's left. In case you want Sanjeev to ask, you can ask Sanjeev.
Okay.
Next time you can tweet out to Dr. Swamy. I'm sure he'd respond to those tweets as well. Yes.
Yeah, you see, the sort of controversial figure he is, one must give it to him for the simple fact that, you know, if there was something that started the slide of UPA2, it was the 2G spectrum scam. And, you know, everyone has to give him credit for that, because he was totally untiring, just pushing for that case. And once, you know, that perception gained ground, and then we saw how scam after scam came, and that has been the biggest undoing of UPA2.
All right, on that note, well, you heard the man, Dr. Subramanian Swamy, talk to us. In case there's any other leader who you want to speak to, you let us know. We'll, of course, get them for you and ask them to answer your questions. If you have any more questions for Subramanian Swamy, you can tweet those out to us. We'll ask them to ask him to respond to your tweets. Also, you can do that by going to indiapostlive.com. That's our website. And while you're on that website, we're running a contest called the Hambole contest that ends tonight. Yes, it's about your predictions for the winner of the Lok Sabha elections of 2014, and it's very simple. We're asking three basic questions of who will be Prime Minister, who will be the largest party, and who will be the largest alliance, and the winner gets a car. Yes, a sedan is up for grabs, also a host of other prizes, so do participate in that. That closes right before counting tomorrow, and tomorrow we'll be, of course, discussing the results. Right? Thanks so much, Sanjeev, for coming in. Well, that's it on this conversation with Dr. Subramanian Swamy. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks so much for watching.